Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. Boom. And it's that time of the week again for the Rant. I'll be ranting for the next hour. Is this the end? Hello. Welcome to the show. My name is Jade, and I hope you're all doing very well. I'm doing okay. It is very early here in the morning. I'd like to, as always, welcome our Wart Warriors. You too can become a Wart Warrior by clicking the join button down below if you're on a desktop computer, or using the link that is either provided or in the description. For $1 a month, you can support the channel, and custom emojis change all the time. We still got a bunch of Gary Hubs ones in there from the interview that we did just this weekend. Okie dokie. So what are we talking about today? Well, I better say hello to you all, Ben and I, before we get into it. Firstly, as always, thank you to our super moderator, Thomas Christ, who continuously busts his balls to help out so many channels and has his own great channel himself. If you haven't subbed to Thomas, I will come to your house and, I don't know, do something nonsensical that could probably get me arrested. There you go. But yes, there's a link there. Thank you, Thomas, as always. Let's hit up the chat. Hugh Caldwell's in the house. Audible Video. Russ8889, who I'd like to thank for putting the idea in my head today for this particular show. We've got Mateusz Brakowski, Joe Glenn. I saw Barry up ahead earlier. We got Pookie Ann. Pookie Ann. We've got Ali Strong is here as well. Cy Effin, always good to see you. Cage in your head official. Wow. Holy hell. Welcome to you. Long time no see. Ed Bamedal. Our Legs is in the house. Hi, Legs. Who else do we have? Let me scroll up. I'm sure I saw some more people here that I'm missing. I don't know what I'm having a stroke. Feel like don't know what that was. I feel like I'm at a political party thing, having a stroke on stage. There we go. If I've missed you, I've missed you. I'm trying to keep up, but I'm not doing so good. My eyes suck today. Brad Example, there's Brad. I missed Brad. Well, I didn't miss Brad yesterday. You may have noticed I wasn't in the chat yesterday. I had it on in the background. I unfortunately got a blood nose from hell. Let me tell you about that. That went on for about, I don't know, 3 hours. It was wild. It was so much fun. I really wanted to be there. I had it on the background, but yeah, so that's why I was noticeably missing from Brad's live stream yesterday. Really crappy stuff. Hello, covered by SCQ. Today's artist, our special artist of the day. Who did I set it for? It is Roque Avellaneda. So that is our famous artist that we're going to play today. I don't play his music enough on here, and he just dropped a brand new song, and it's kind of ties into today's stuff. Hey, Pam, hello. Nice to I miss you too. Lots of love to you, Pam. Forrest of the Wolf is in the house. Greg O'Sullivan's in the house. ZZZ. Doug, I saw Doug Kidder. Doug Kidder was here as well. There he is, back. Welcome back. You didn't notice I wasn't there. Well, of course you wouldn't, because you, Russ, are a total aren't you? Paul O'Farrell, Wobbly Ashtray Records. All right, I'm trying to get through hellos. We got to get this show on the road because we got less than an hour now. So what the hell am I talking about by this title? It is this the end? Is it? All right. Before I get into this, I need everybody to know I am not specifically targeting anybody. This is not a specific, I'm honing in on you specifically, but this is a broader observation from somebody, myself, who gets to very, very graciously, very thankfully as well, gets to master a lot of music from within this broad community that we have here on YouTube. And I find the importance of beginning a song and ending a song very, very important. Of course, you'll have lots of distribution companies these days, all the people who want to make money from you and give you nothing. Spotify. They will tell you that the most important thing about a song is the beginning, is to get people in and get them hooked and get them from not clicking over to the next song. That's all good and fine. But if you get pulled into the beginning and go, well, that's pretty good, thank you very much, and you get about halfway through and go, I like that little bit there, that's pretty nice. And then it gets to the end of the song, and the end of the song sucks balls. Guess which bit they're going to remember? The end. They will. I do all the time. I get through an entire song and go, yeah, that was rad. Oh, man, what was with that ending? It's like, it's like eating a chocolate bar and getting through the end of it and you go, that last bite, hang on. Oh, no, I was eating dog shit all along. What's going on? You remember the last taste. If the last bit of the ice cream cone in the tip of the cone was replaced with chocolate with dog shit, you're going to remember it, right? So it's important to end your song. And I'm going to kick off by talking about film and television first, because it's good to start there, because this applies to all creative avenues. So let's talk about, firstly, television. And I don't know, I'm sure every one of you can name one of these in the chat. A television series you either watched back when Netflix wasn't around, and every week you sat there at 8:30 p.m. and got in front of your TV going, I can't wait for the next installment of insert favorite TV program here. And you invested years into this show. Twin Peaks was one of those for me, right? I invested so much into Twin Peaks. That was back when you had to sit through the ads and sit and wait every week for it to come around. And even now in today's time, with Netflix, it's still the same. You just get it on demand and you invest hours and hours and hours and hours. And I'm sure many of you can sit here and just throw off in the chat right now a television series that you have watched and put in, say, 5 years, and it's got to the end and just shat in your mouth, right? Dexter for me. Oh, my Lord. Dexter. Man, I remember watching the first episode of Dexter and going, why has nobody thought of this before? A serial killer with a pattern of murdering people to get back at people. And right, this is rad. And then the twists and turns, and it just got better and better. And as each season got better and better, and then that end came, and it was like, did anybody consider the end of this before writing this entire season, this series? Lost, Game of Thrones. Man, there's so many in our history that we can look back on and go, oh, the end sucked so bad. One of mine was Heroes. I was so invested in Heroes, especially the first season. Man, I still think it's one of the greatest first seasons of television ever. Unfortunately, the second season got marred because of the writers' strike, and they tried to push through, and it just never recovered. And they were so lost from there. By the time they got to the end of it, it just wasn't what it was in the beginning. And it was like they had no idea, right? Which makes you think, isn't it just logical? If you're going to write something that is going to be a series, the whole initial concept should be, this is the start, and this is the idea of the characters, and all the stuff in the middle is all the stuff that's going to happen and keep you glued. But you've got to have an ending when you first start. It's got to have a conclusion. If you go in and go, all right, here's this character, it's really fantastic, here's all this stuff, what's the point? Because you have no direction. The middle stuff doesn't know where it's heading. And I'm sure that's a good thing for the viewer until it gets to the end and we all sit there and go, did the directors like, plan this at all? What's going on? This stuff is important. Deep Gravity is in the house. Hello. Have I missed anyone? I'm trying to go back and make sure I don't miss anybody. If I do miss you, call me on it. Dexter was a pathetic ending. Twin Peaks wasn't, because, you know what, here's the difference with something like Twin Peaks. There was a plan, and it ended exactly the way it was meant to end, right? Sure, some of the other stories in the middle, that's where it got a bit lost. But the end was always going to be how it ended, because it had to tie in with the film that came out. There was a lot more. But then when Twin Peaks came back years and years later, which was only, a few years ago, 4 years ago or something? No, it was back in 2017, I think. They tied it up and helped you make all sense of it, because none of Twin Peaks made sense. And it still doesn't. But yes, and we've talked about TV, so of course we have to go to movies. And you've hit the nail on the head, Russ. It's exactly where I'm going here. The biggest, the most monumental fuck up in movie history was the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Now, I'm not here to debate whether Rian Johnson is a tool. That's up to you to decide, or whether The Rise of Skywalker is subverted, your expectations and all this stuff. But let's give a quick analysis of what went wrong there. Again, no fucking planning. No. Here's the beginning, no end. That's why it went wrong. That is why it went wrong. And sure, many people can say, but the first one of the sequel trilogy was just a copy paste of Star Wars, the Episode 4, New Hope. Yes, it was, and that was actually a very clever way to go. Wolfstone Studio, hello. Why was it clever? Because a few reasons. It was familiar. And as humans, we love familiarity. We do. We like it. We feel like we connect with something that we understand, and like the neighbor who used to. No, don't go there. Hey, perpetual pussy, I called you perpetual pussy. That's probably because you talk about your pussy a lot, I've noticed. So perpetual platter pussy. Why did I say that? I have no idea. I've got pussy on my mind too today. It's been a while. God, I can't even come back from that. Perpetual pussy. Damn. Star Wars. Star Wars, okay. So people understood it. It made sense. Like Chris Lane. Coldacre, what's going on? People, look, it made sense, all right? And it was a great way. Episode 7 helped people get back into the Star Wars world, right? It helped bring back the original characters we all wanted to see, and it helped build the new face of the Star Wars, which was Rey, which everybody got upset about. I don't think because she was necessarily a Mary Sue. I think it's because we clearly saw there was no direction. There was no direction. And I'll tell you how we knew there was no direction. Because the directors kept leaving. It was awful, right? We had, what's his name, come in and do the first one. And it set everything up perfectly, there was an open slate. And Rian Johnson came in and wanted to subvert our expectations, and he sure did it. But the problem was he probably could have got away with subverting our expectations and killing Luke Skywalker and doing all this stuff if there was a fucking ending that we were heading to. There had to be a place we were going to. Instead, you could clearly see we were going nowhere, man. And it was proof by the last movie when they brought back the Emperor, which totally undid the meaning of every film. Why did Darth Vader need to be redeemed? And none of it meant anything, just because they brought back the Emperor. And now on their Disney network, they're definitely trying to create all these new stories to bring it all back just to that one monumental fuck up, which could have been easily fixed if somebody had thought about the ending, and it's something that is very important, I believe that it should be an integral part of writing. Yeah, definitely. Not like any Star Wars character were well developed. Rey was no different. Yeah, look, Star Wars has never been. This is the thing. Star Wars has never been a very deep, intellectual movie. It's good, bad, some interesting creatures along the way, and explosions and spaceships. That's it, man. It's not meant to, you're not meant to go there and find out the equation to life, the universe, and everything from a Star Wars film. That's it. Okay? You got to keep it simple. And they had two perfectly good bad guys who could have been there by the end. That's it. And Luke and a new Mary Sue against the two bad guys. There's the climactic finish. You find out that this one's this cousin and that one's that cousin. And it all works out. Keep it in the family. Ba-boom, then we move on. So easy, right? But instead, they went all crazy and brought back somebody who died ages ago and made up all this weird shit. And here's another thing. They threw in a MacGuffin at every turn of the last movie. Now, you can put in a MacGuffin in your song if you want, but then you're just sending people down rabbit holes they don't want to go, because a song doesn't need to chase after MacGuffins and find MacGuffins to get to the next point. If you don't know what a MacGuffin is, go look it up. You'll find out. The meaning's on the internet. So anyway, we're getting into these are just examples of why endings are important. I thought I would set the preface of this because it is important. People should think about them. Let me have some coffee, chill, because it's early in the morning. Space Cowboys. That's what George Lucas wrote about. It's just Flash Gordon. It's just a serial. Star Wars fans get so invested in Star Wars, don't they? God, I'd love to punch every Star Wars fan in the face. I believe a lot of authors have their endings straight at first. That is right. That is why so many movies, right, become films. Because they're adapted by novels, because writers understand this. And unfortunately, a lot of television studios and movie studios don't. All they give a fuck about is, look how much money we spent on this thing and how to get, they just don't care. And that's why often movies, nearly all the time, movies do not follow the novelization of the movie that they're presenting you. Lots has changed. Cujo, think Stephen King's Cujo. Why is that book so good? Because you're in the mind of the dog and you're understanding what the dog is thinking. Yeah, the dog's rabid and it's all crazy. In the film, you're following the people and the dog you just is terrified of. But how are you going to convey that? The dog, you could probably do it now even better with a film about Cujo now and do it from the dog's mind with it all rabied up and because... But people who write novels and stuff, they know where their characters are going. They're going to end. They have to have a fucking purpose and a point, and they have to get to where they're going, just like this show today. So let's go here before we move in to talking about music. Hi, Chad Freeman. Because, again, this show's exactly the same. I do the rant every week. Right? And you may think that I'm just making shit up on the spot. Most of the time I am. But when I come up with these rants, there's a beginning. Yeah, we got to talk about what is this about. There's the middle where most of it's just off the top of my head, pull up some pages, talk about some things. But the end always has to come home with a positive drive. And that's like the end is always the focus of this. So this show on the end is about getting to the point of helping anybody who is struggling with ending their songs in a more interesting way, do better. So there's a positive thing that I'm trying to get to. The end is important, yeah? What I'm going to do is we're going to pull up a few documents from some really big companies who've been in the game of selling us tools to make music and what they think are really good ideas for ending songs. And then I'm going to show you how again, I'm not putting you under the pump. I'm not singling people out. You'll know who you are if you're guilty of any of this stuff. And I'm guilty of it too. I suck. Right? Just let me put it out there. I'm not showing you my stuff to go, look, this is how you do it. I'm showing you my stuff to show how I operate and how I've tried to operate for my current album I'm working on, because I've put a lot of work into how each song ends and goes into the next song. I put more work into how each song ends and goes into the next song than what I do the actual song, because my songs, this is a concept album where everything leads into everything, and some of them almost have the same kind of textures that lead into each other. So there's that. Pookie, we've talked, and you really shouldn't have done that. You know, I love you so much, Pookie, but you should have listened to the Magic 8 Ball on Valerie's show the other day. It was telling you. So thank you, Pookie, who's delivered a whole bunch of memberships to all these people. One of them who I know doesn't want one, but they got one. Again. That's funny. I love it when there's people who don't want one of your memberships, and every time somebody gives away, they end up getting it. Too funny. Anyway, let's go through some things. Let's talk about this company here. So this is iZotope, and tomorrow we're taking a look at the new iZotope app called Trash. And iZotope have been making software for making music for the longest time, on PC and Mac, and they have just entered the iOS space. And it looks like going forward, everything they're going to release, like most apps now, are going to be iOS, PC, and Mac. So if you do come to this channel sometimes and go, oh, I don't think this show's for me because I don't use iOS, you're wrong. Because everything now going forward, everything that comes out, iOS is pretty much out on PC and Mac. So you can get nearly every app I talk about on here on your preferred platforms. So there's that. It's not an excuse anymore to not watch the show and learn something, okay? So iZotope, who are now owned by Native Instruments, hi Feisty, bye Feisty, hi bye, Mix Club, hello to you. These guys, I think they know a little bit about songwriting. So I like to trust these guys. They have written this wonderful article. This is back in 2018, Songwriting techniques, 13 ways to end a song. I like that number, 13. Stuck how to finish a tune? Join us as we explore 13 songwriting techniques of how to end your song, including examples from hit singles, both new and old. Let's see what they've got to say. So you'd be surprised by how many ways of ending a song exist. This is true. There's so many different ways. And over the years, I think I've nearly used all of these in various bands I've been in. The hard out. This is probably the most popular of all endings. It's simple, effective. You sing the final chorus or two. At the end of the song and the last note, you hear it bang. And I Really Like You in the Middle by Zed. I'm not going to play any of these songs because, copyright and all that stuff. The hard snap end. Dun, 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 dun. Done. Instant, boom, familiar. It's already been in the song. It's the chorus. You've heard it a bunch of times, the way it ends. But here's the thing, you can't always do that because some choruses, they don't end that way, do they? The note they go on, just it doesn't have a hard end. It depends on the timing. It depends on the tempo. Depends on a whole lot of things, But it's an option that many people use. Focus on the hook. Focusing on the hook is the other popular ending style and an effective songwriting technique. It's often used in modern dance songs that feature a double chorus where the second chorus focuses on just repeating the hook. In this song ending, you re-emphasize the hook a couple of extra times at the end before going out. Right? So it can still have that snap, that hard ending, but it is like the most popular way for pop music to go out on a song. It's all about the hook, right? So bang the hook home, to me, I get agitated by hearing the hook over and over. It depends. If it's a shitty hook, I don't want to hear it. So, but that is number 2. 3, go out with a surprise. This is my favorite one. A surprise, man. Something different. Throw in a different riff. Do something different. Throw in a different tempo change. Not a breakdown or anything like that. Just totally, you'll hear there's a few of those in my album. Us, the duo, use this technique on their hit no matter where you are. At the end of the last chorus, things seem to cool down and get gentler as they repeat the hook a couple of more times. Then at the last second, they surprise you by singing the hook one last time at full power. Want to surprise your listeners? This is the way to go. It doesn't have to be like that either, where you just come back and just do the hook one more time. It can be a totally different riff, can be something utterly unexpected. The classic fade out. This is one that people often judge hard, but, done effectively with a reason. And a lot of the time, the reasons for a fade out can be that it just feels like no matter what you try, there is nowhere else to go. And that can happen. I know there's been songs I've worked on for ages and got to the end and have tried so many different things, but I just can't get it to work. And then you get to the point of like, oh my God, I'm working 3 weeks on this ending trying to do something just that stands out. Fuck it. I'm just going to fade it out. But you'll notice when you do fade it out, well, for me personally, when I do come to fading it out, this is your opportunity too. So it's just not the chorus going over and over and over and over again. You've got the opportunity as a vocalist to do some, hey, I'm Mariah Carey for a second. It's some crazy stuff in there with it vocally, yeah. You got some stuff to change the tempo, change the drum beat a little bit, so it's still the same thing. It feels like it's different, but you're still fading out, but it's just a minor change, or double kick the fade out. You still have options when fading out to still make it more interesting than just fading out. I know a lot of singers you'll know this too, a lot of singers take advantage of this, and this is where they get their moment, they go off. And I use Mariah Carey as an example, but we all know she can't sing for shit, and she fucked her way to the top. So there's that. So the fade out is one of the most common ways, and people can say it's lazy, but sometimes it is through laziness, but not all the time that it is from laziness. Yeah. It's not all the time. Sometimes there just is no way out, and that is the thing. Or sometimes it's just stylistic, and that's how somebody wants to end the song, just with that chorus, repeating and repeating and repeating and just giving it all. Hell, if it's a good fucking chorus, have at it, man. Get people singing it as long as they can. Why not? If somebody's singing it, you almost spit your coffee. It's true, though. We saw at the New Year's Eve when they dropped the ball. They should have dropped the ball on her, I'll tell you what. Man, good God. She got to stop getting Botox in her entire body. She walks like C-3PO. Anyway, hold out that money note. Absolutely. I am guilty of holding out the money note. If you are a singer and you have confidence and you have the balls to do it, hold out that note. Give people what they want as a singer. Sing that bitch. Hold out that note. Give it your most. Add your vibrato. Go for it. Impress people. If your song is in need of an ending, a super strong and impressive accent, go out with a total bang by going full power, extending the ending and holding onto that mighty high note, then wrap it up with a strong accent, and you've got yourself a mega powerful ending. In other words, do it like Tori Kelly. Don't worry about a thing. It's the thing, man. If you got the voice, you got the chops, bring it, give it. Don't do it every song. This is the hook too. All these are great ideas, right? But it's when you're not mixing them up. I think you want to mix stuff up, especially for an album. All right, we're at the halfway point, so take a break there because we'll talk about albums for a second compared to singles. Because it's important to try and think ahead again. Is this song going to go on an album? Are there going to be more songs that I'm putting out with this? Or is this just a single? If this is a single, it's in its own ballpark. Let's do our ad every day at the halfway point of the show. YouTube forced me to do an ad, and we're going to run the ad. If you'd like to avoid the ad, you can become a YouTube Premium subscriber, or we'll just wait for you to come back. And in the meantime, I'll run my own ads and tell you what's happening here on the channel, because tomorrow we have iZotope trash. Finally, iZotope have entered the market with iOS apps. And let me tell you, this thing, it's wild. It's just utterly wild. So that's happening tomorrow. The day after, 4Pockets are releasing a brand new app here called Rings FX. I've been on the beta for a fair while now. It drops in a couple of days' time. It's rad. You're going to love it. It is a physical modeling resonator. Banging sounds coming out of this thing. It's 4Pockets. What do you expect? Then we have, oh, I've got the wrong thumbnail. Episode 1200 before Thomas Christ this week. And it is the Weeping Wall. This thing is it's a Zen garden of sound. You're going to love it. It's a really cool app. We are closing out this week with an interview with Leni Perez. I don't have the thumbnail yet. And then before Walk With Me this week, because of all the time changes and stuff, I'm doing an extra episode because there's so many apps I have to catch up on. We're doing FMQT. This is a fantastic app made by a female developer. And whenever a female developer comes into this space, I will absolutely shoot her to the moon. This thing is rad, and it is so cute. And I love cute things. Right. Where were we? Releasing a song as a single compared to an album, yeah? So if you know you're releasing music as a part of an album, endings are important to think about, aren't they? Because, you know, there's nothing worse. I'll be honest. When I write an album and the songs are starting to come together, I really start to focus on the ends of all these songs and the order of how these songs are going to go. What are the songs about? Where do they fit? Which song is sounding more commercial, more radio friendly, to which songs are more like out there and a bit strange, and how they will fit. I use the old models of track 2 and 3, and normally 2, 3, and 4 are going to be your singles. This is the way it used to work, not so much these days. But if I know these songs are in an album, the ends are important because they're going to lead into the intros. But if it's just a single song, I tend to not put as much effort in. That's wrong. I need to change that, and that is something I need to definitely work on. So, repeat the hook softly. This is a technique to wrap up a song. At the end of the chorus, this chick sings another repetition of the hook, but softly. It gives you a sense of there being more to the story yet to be told. Yes, dynamics. Change the dynamic of the song. Lead the song out differently dynamically. Even though it's the same thing that you're doing, it feels like something different. Remember, music is like magic. Yeah, it's all how you present the illusion. You can take. I've been busking from time to time, and when I knew I couldn't do some of the covers I used to do busking, I would just play 2 chords and just make up words for hours and hours on end, and none of it made any fucking sense. And some of those days doing that, I made some of the most money ever compared to doing like the Green Day songs and all the stuff you think people will like. Why? Because I was able to take 2 chords, sing them, and add inflection and mood and up and down and softer. When more people were walking through, I could be louder, and then when less people there, I could play those 2 chords and be more mellow. And you can take 2 chords and turn them into a symphony by the way you deliver them, by the way they are played, by how hard the strings are hit. These things are important. So you can get away with playing something that has been overplayed throughout a song, but if it sounds a little bit like mellow or different, That'll work too. 7, the halftime hook. Used in so many ballads, including Beauty and the Beast, the halftime hook songwriting technique is a staple way to end your song. Michael Jackson used this in his song Childhood. At the end, the tempo slows down significantly and the hook is repeated one more time slowly. This is a great tool to use if you're ready to pull on the emotional strings. Yes, half-timing the original hook. It feels like it's something different. That's exactly what I was just saying. It feels like something special, like we've changed into some other mode, but it's still got the hook in there. The instrumentation might change a little bit too. There's our Starr who's coming on the show this week. Our leany. So the halftime hook is a winner as well. Sing the verse line of the first verse. Callbacks. I can't tell you how significantly important callbacks are in music. Callbacks are the staple of a comedian, right? I don't give a shit what anybody says. I've been a comedian. I've played at comedy festivals, right? You can believe me or not, but I have, and I've been a part of it. And if you are unable to create a set of jokes, well, they're not jokes. These days, comedy isn't about getting up and telling jokes. It's like when you are a comedian, you're playing at a comedy festival and you finish and you're walking around the festival and some idiot comes up to you and goes, "Oh, you're the comedian. Tell us a joke." It's like, and normally I will have a little pocket mirror in my pocket and I'll pull it out and just hold it out in front of them so they get to see the joke is them. Because comedians don't tell jokes, we tell stories, right? But a callback, you know it. If you've gone and seen a good comedian, it doesn't matter if they're crass, they're woke, they're foul, whatever it is, whatever kind of comedy they are, callbacks get you in there. Because, right, not all jokes float. Unlike It, where we all float down here. No, but not all jokes float. So you need callbacks to reel people in. Overdoing callbacks can kill you, but having the right timing for callbacks, and songs are no different. Callbacks, for example, here's a very extreme example, Counting Crows. Counting Crows are one of those bands, I don't care if you like them or not, whatever you think of them, but consistency through all of their albums over the years, they have, now this is deeper than just a callback in one song. They have callbacks across albums. Particular characters that Adam DeVitz has sung about, girls that he's sung about, from the first album, even to the last album, that name will come up again and again. And different situations and cities like Baltimore and stuff. These callbacks are littered throughout their entire discography, right? So I know we're getting off the topic of endings, but callbacks are important overall for songwriting and in a song too. Why? Because a hook is a callback, the chorus hook, it gets a callback. But again, verses, the opening line of a verse can be a great callback to end on because it brings you back full circle and reminds you what was it. Because sometimes in songs, it's the opening line of the song is far more memorable than the entire song, isn't it? Songs are all so different, you know. Sing the first line of the verse. Faith Hill's "Breathe" ends with the return of the first line in the first verse. It's a nice way to create a bookend effect where you start at the end of the song with the same lyrics, coming full circle, if you will. It's awesome. Repeat the entire verse, first verse. This is another trick. Yes, I've done this in the first song I'm going to play soon from my album. I start with this verse, I end with the verse. Why? Partly laziness, but partly familiarity too, because it brings back the original. Because that first verse was probably the most hitting part of the song where I really went hard. And the next verse was kind of just pulling off a bit, going, I don't need to be as brutal in this one. And so, yes, this can be done many people do this. An instrumental hook, since instrumental hooks and licks are a big part of songwriting techniques and song production, I can't pass by without talking about using them as a means to the end of your song. After your final chorus, you can wrap things up by focusing on an instrument hook of the song. Yes, Here's the big chorus. The chorus is going and going and going and stops, and it's just left with the piano playing. Just the piano of that hook. It's still the same thing you're playing, but it pulls back and it's dramatic and but it's still the same thing, and it goes out with that piano that has been underneath that driving chorus the whole way through. It's so low in there that you probably haven't even noticed it, but now it is front and center. Another great way. Instrumental unraveling. The alternate way of having non-lyrical endings is to go for an instrumental breakdown that isn't necessarily related to the hook, right? It just lets the song gently unwind. Go out with a vocal riff. Charlie Puth's Attention is a great example of finishing the song on the chorus but ending on a nice vocal riff. Simple yet effective. There's so many different ways here. Cut it short, although this one ties a little more into production. Bruno Mars, That's What I Like, is an awesome example of surprising your listeners by cutting the last chorus shorter than you expected. That's almost full circle of coming back to just shocking people. We have enough time to go through these songs. Let me show you. Remember, I'm going to make a disclaimer here. Remember, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, right? I just, like you, write songs that feel right for me. So here's my album. Now it's a 23, what is it? On this version, it's a 23 track album, right? So these are all in order. Let's go with the start. Starts off funky, opening track. Okay, let's go to the end. We don't need to hear the meet in the middle. How's this thing end? Whoop. So it was a solid stop. So we had a dun 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 dun. Goes into the next track. What's the next track on here? We're straight into violins for the next track. Whoops. Let's go back there. Violins. Don't worry, I'm going to be skipping through these very quickly. And hello, Jenny, and anyone I may have missed in the chat. Right, so how's this song end? This ends on a dun 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 as well. There we go, very similar end. Next song, acoustic, violins, from Aggression, death metal, dun 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 dun. Again, so I followed a very similar pattern between the opening songs. Let's go to the end. This is Do What Makes You Happy. Okay, so with that one, we got a nice big crescendo at the end, only to give a single instrument the final hurrah. So the spotlight goes on the cello. Big build up. Big build up. Which goes into our next song, which continues on with violins, straight from the cello into violins. All right, we've heard that. Most people have heard that before. How does this song end? So on keys and violins, it goes out on. So if you hear a bit further at the beginning, this is a callback ending. once these keys originally come in. So that dun, 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 it's just sped up. It's double timed. Here at the end is just double timed. Dun, 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 dun. So it's the same lick on a different instrument, but double timed to give the illusion of this is something different. So there's the example of that. Where are we up to next? Exquisite Pain. So it ends there, goes into straight away different. So toms, dun, 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 a drum intro to go into the song. Mix it up, give a different beginning. How's this one end? Guitar and horns. So everything gets pulled back. Big build up, leaving a guitar and a horn. Which goes into, so we'll hear that again. That is two bits of footage from a film, from two David Lynch films, with Laura Palmer screaming in it, reversing into the opening of the song. So beginnings are just as important as endings. Now this one isn't a fade out. This is my first fade out of the album. But if we really get to break this down, what is happening in here, this is the same riff, the same chorus here. There we go. Same chorus, but I've basically added some guitar in there and changed the timing of the drums. So it's an illusion. Hey Pete, yes, YML is up next. Okay, straight into funky. So obviously this is a more wilder song, a faster song. How does this one end? Okay, so it's got this riff that's all the way through the song. So this riff in here is used to break up two of the main riffs, the verse and the chorus, because I couldn't find a way through this song to connect the riffs. So I came up with this run. I'll see if I can find it in here. This is a callback. So this is a callback. There it is. So it's in there once. Here it comes again. Here it is. And it's also the same way the song ends. Here's the end of the song. And into a ballad. So I'm not going to go through all these because it's going to take a lot of time it's 23 songs, but there's two in particular I want to show you, which I spent a lot of time on trying to get to work into each other. Let me find them. It's these two here. So, this is a funkier song. Pay attention to that sound underneath the guitar. So it's like this. Okay, now the end of the song. Let me show you the end. So we're back here. This is the callback. So I've virtually pulled out heaps of the parts here and just emphasized little bits that were buried in the main section when this underneath was played. But listen to the end. It ends on this huge crescendo of noise to go into the next song. It's a similar noise. I wanted the two noises to combine. Here it comes. So it fades. Let it move to the next song. Oh! That was a false ending. It's this song that does it. So this song here does a huge. Let me restate this. All right. Now this I talked about. This I talked about in another song, right? So pulling out all of the mess from the chorus and then focusing on a single instrument. Big chorus, big chorus. Big build up, big build up. Lots of noise underneath, creating confusion. And eventually, all we're left with is a piano underneath. So this was mentioned in those 13 tips. Right? It's the same thing. This piano's been played all the way through this, but it's buried so deep in the song. Most people wouldn't have even known it was there until the end. Using the things that are already there, because here's the deal. This is what we're going to go out on. I don't need to go. You get the idea of what I'm talking about here. Pete's up next. We've got an artist to play. We've got Roque to play to go out with. But what's important about this stuff is, a lot of the time you already have the tools in the song that you're writing to go out and end nicely. They're already there. If you're really struggling to create something really fucked up and different for an ending, or you don't want to do a fade out, there's already stuff in there. Hello, Mr. Smith, my dear. Oh, I don't have the camera set up properly. Face cam 2, 3. There we go. Mr. Smith's in the house. I can't do it. It's not working. All right. You already have this stuff mostly in your song, right? Here's what I don't want to see. This is what I'm getting at. Look, I love you guys. I love all the music that everybody makes. Keep doing. Keep testing yourself. Keep pushing yourself. And keep putting more thought into your songs to challenge yourself, yeah? I want to see people get better, and I want to see their endings even better, their beginnings even better, and the middle parts even better as well. So this is not trying to single out, but there's sometimes I get songs that I master, but the song just stops. It even cuts off the reverb tail. Don't cut off your fucking reverb tail. Leave, and even if you have to leave 10 minutes of dead air, give yourself plenty of room to end your song, to top and tail and do all this kind of stuff. Yeah, it'll only make it better. And look within your song. If you're struggling for an ending where you're like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to end this. Look within, solo your tracks, go through some of the bits that are in your tracks and find those little pieces. You may have a little piano bit in there that's just the perfect thing to just extend out a little bit more. Go and work out a little drum fill. Trust me, don't be afraid of MIDI drums. Go to an end of a drum if you're doing MIDI drums and just go and put in random stuff in the toms. Random stuff. you'll be surprised at what comes of putting in random stuff and trying it again to get a very interesting little drum fill in there. Just experiment, right? But try to think about the beginning and the end of your song. They're very important. I find it horrible when I listen and love a song so much and I get to the end and hear it gets chopped off before the reverb tail's done. And I'm like, oh. And now every time I hear that song, that I know that bit's coming. I know it's coming. So this is not a lecture. It's trying to be positive, to encourage you to just love what you do and try and create something even more special. Take a little bit more time. Even if it doesn't make Hippie's show this week, and maybe it's 2 weeks from now, take a little bit more time. We're all still going to be here. Okay, today's artist is a wonderful artist. He's just dropped a brand new song. Yeah, and I joke all the time, and I call him Roque Avocado, but he is Roque Avellaneda. And he's just dropped this song today. It's really wonderful. Pete Johns is up next with Your Music Live. This is called Slow Down. Remember, stay awake. Do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better, and we'll all rise together. This is Slow Down by Roque Avellaneda. See you tomorrow. Boom.